Very few indeed have come even this far.
The panel of souls right here. You guys are all professionals.
Yep.
I want to talk
If
about
you say so.
I want to talk about Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, the re-release coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC. But before I even get into that, the PS3 and 360 version are going to have a free patch in 3 days, which has...
February 5th.
February 5th, yes.
Whatever day that is from when you're watching this video.
Yeah.
You might be playing it right now.
You might be having it right now.
So it has a ring to get better matchmaking. Like you can manage your soul level. But this is the big stuff that hit me. They're having new item descriptions for a lot of the items, which makes me think they're really going to start fleshing out this lore and make it less abstract. And the new NPC, the Scholar of the First Sin, which they were very guarded about. I tried to just pump them for information, and they were not biting. The only thing that he told me, it was one of the producers of the game, he stressed first sin. He kept saying first, and basically said, why do you think this happened? So I'm really thinking there's going to be some kind of origin story with this character.
Back to like Dark Souls 1.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
Some kind of connection.
Killing
What
the
do,
first
what, do you,
flame?
what do you guys think of that? Because, you know, the way Dark Souls tells the story is very unique to itself. Do you like that they might be taking this more direct approach to the narrative?
It really depends on all what they show. Like, if they do it well, then I could be into it. But at the same time, if it's literally too much and literally just handing you the story without even thinking about it, I don't like that.
I mean, the first sin to me would be taking the flame in the first place, like the thing that started everything. So, I mean, is the Scholar of the First Sin, like, I know, like, you're the furtive pygmy, kind of like the descendant, the humans in the first one, but, like, is that the first one? I mean, it could be anybody. I'm confident that they'll probably just be as subtle as they usually are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What about you, Ben?
When I think about how the Soul series has usually like done add-on content, they've always kind of like added things. They've never sort of rewritten them. So them changing item descriptions is cool to a certain point, but you know, I don't really want to figure out the story by going through and picking up every item again and then like trying to figure out what changed. Mm-hmm. Like that doesn't sound too interesting to me, but maybe you know that won't be a big deal, and maybe with the new stuff that they're adding, I'll be able to get what I want from that.
I hope they don't nerf like other things, like change the lore.
They've changed it, even in the original Dark Souls, they changed it a little bit when they added the Artorias of the Abyss. They kind of changed Artorias' lore on everything about how he used to hunt, like, I forgot what they're called, but in like the Abyss, what are they called?
Let's just say Heartless.
No.
Kingdom Hearts is cool.
I want to say Dark Lurker, but it's not Dark Lurker.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dark Wraiths?
Yeah, the Dark Race, yeah. He used to hunt them, but in the DLC kind of came out like he never really encounters that kind of thing happening.
But I mean, like that is okay because it could be like a legend, you know? Like you're never
Sure,
really
that's the whole thing
sure.
with Dark Souls, kind of saying like, oh, this could, what you see might necessarily not be true, kind of
Because
thing.
then you
I
get
have to-
Uruseel and you're like, learn the truth.
To say though, I was, you know, back when Dark Souls, they announced the DLC plan for Dark Souls 2, I was worried that they were splitting it up into 3 parts, that there wasn't going to be enough there, and having played through all of those DLC, I don't necessarily like it better than Artorias of the Abyss, but I thought there was a lot there, and I had a blast playing through it, and each month I looked to the new thing. And the fact that they're coming out with even more stuff now, like this game has been super well supported.
How
and I
cool
commend
is that?
Yeah.
That you get that for free if you own the game. That's what I'm talking about, this loyalty with these re-releases that is such a perfect way to reward people that have already purchased the game. They're getting the meat of it, you know, the story stuff, without having to go out and
Is there
spend.
anything in the PS4 version
So
that won't
so I'll
be
go into
in
that. The PS4 version and Xbox One, they kept joking
The
about
PS4
that.
version, right?
That it's 1080p, 60 frames, and the big thing was that there is a new group. They didn't say it was a covenant, but they called it the Forlorn, and they showed a concept image of this group of people, and it basically looked like the Grim Reaper. So they looked really badass. They had a scythe. They had like this bone face, and they play a huge role in the story. The guy was saying,
And they're only in the new version.
correct.
They're not in the patch version.
Yeah. They're
I mean, I was
not
going to
in-
buy it anyway, but
Yeah. So then 1080p 60 frames, but the big thing was random enemy placement. This is only in the new PS4, Xbox One version. This basically is like a Resident Evil arrange mode where, actually no, that's kind of not fair because it's rearranged once. It doesn't it's not procedural.
it's
it
not
doesn't.
procedural.
Oh,
So
it doesn't
random's the
do-
wrong word. It's just
Yeah.
different arrangement.
It's a different arrangement. I had the
That's a
chance to
bummer.
play the first like 20, 30 minutes, and right out of the gate I noticed that there were some new enemies in different locations that caught me off guard. And they also said that the AI is more aggressive, which I noticed. So that was a pretty big deal.
I mean, you know, it sounds like a small thing, changing up the enemies where they're located, but in a game like Dark Souls, where
makes it a
memorization
completely different
and
game.
muscle memory is so key, you know, that really is a whole new game.
It was so funny because they were saying you're going to have to play this and forget everything you know. They were stressing that. They're like, different paths will be open and different paths will be shut. So the way you progress through the entire game is completely different.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to add replay.
Like, that's the thing. I was excited to replay it just for the story stuff, but now like pretty much the whole game, it's like a remix.
Yeah. I have to ask about the elephant in the room, though. This is coming out in an awkward time. It's coming out after Bloodborne, and when a new Souls game, even though this doesn't have the word Souls in it, comes out, pretty much consumes me for a year.
Yeah.
I feel like, not that this isn't going to be awesome,
Yeah.
but I don't know where I'm going to find time to play this in the midst of Bloodborne.
Same thing.
You know?
That's what I was going to get to.
I mean, I figure you beat Bloodborne, you play the Chalice
The chalice could be
all the
infinite, though.
time, right? And it is. And I think you play the Chalice like a couple of times. You buy Scholar of the First Sin day one,
But
and then
there's
you
also
fire
the
it up
free.
sometimes.
But I think the thing about
But I'm
Souls
gonna wait.
games,
I'm gonna wait for the PS4 one and just start fresh.
I think
Because the DLC's all packed in, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
DLC's
don't
packed
mean-
in on the
That's
PS4
right.
version as well.
Maybe you don't agree with this, but I think we've experienced in the office pretty heavily is these games are very, very social. And you know, I remember when Dark Souls 1 came out at GT, I remember when Dark Souls 2 came out, you just like coming into the office every day being like, oh, did you see this thing? Did you see that thing? And I can definitely see that being there with Bloodborne, but I don't know if there's going to be room in that space to like go back to Dark Souls 2. You know, if
Right.
all my friends are playing Bloodborne, it's gonna be hard.
I'm gonna be playing Bloodborne for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I beat Dark Souls 2 5 times.
Yeah,
so I'm
I mean,
trying to
do
beat
you-
Bloodborne like much more than that probably.
Even with the rearranged enemies, it's not
That's
enough for
cool.
you.
I mean, that's a cool touch they added. Did they add new types of enemies, like not in the old game?
He laughed maniacally when I said, "Are there any new bosses?" And he said, "Bosses, I don't know, but boss."
So there'll be one new boss.
Yeah, so I'm
So it'll
wondering
probably be the Scholar.
if you find the scholar or something like that. And then I asked where in the story it takes place. You know, if you know, how are you retroactively adding in this character if you've already beat the game? Is it rewriting Dark Souls 2 because this character has such a crucial role? And then he was like, oh well, it's simultaneous. He was very guarded about everything. It was very hard to get information.
I don't know
from
why
him.
I
You know-
thought this, but I always assumed it would be like Pate, or those guys are like an NPC that you just run into a few times. But I don't know if that's what it is or not.
That's something that I've always really loved about these games is, you know, they're coming out with this new version and how guarded they are. Like, it probably hurts them from a marketing perspective, but from a player, you know, when I
yeah.
go through this stuff and I realize like, oh, holy shit, this boss is incredible, or this new area is incredible, or this group is incredible, you know, that they don't ruin the discovery. And I appreciate that. And
Totally.
you know, the other thing is like not everybody has a PS4. Not everybody's going to get to play Bloodborne. So this will be great for them. And it's also something that, like, you know, if I get a week off in the summer or whatever it is, like, it'll be great to go back and revisit this.
And if
stuff.
you never had a PS3 or 360 and
Right.
Yeah.
you missed out on
Perfect,
it altogether,
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
perfect because it has all the DLCs.
I mean, yeah, because if you discover, like, think of it this way, like, you discover Bloodborne, you're like, wow, Souls is really cool, and then you have a PS4 Dark
You
Souls 2
go
that you
back.
can play.
Yeah.
Like, that would happen. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
going to buy it no matter what, and then I'll play it probably just, like, here and there.
Right.
and then lastly, there was expanded multiplayer. There were 6 players now,
Cool.
which is
Oh.
really cool.
Whoa,
So-
that's a big deal.
And again, they didn't say if that is 6-player cooperative, if it is a 3-on-3.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't say.
Can you imagine being invaded by 5 people?
That's what I was thinking. And the Forlorn group is a group of invaders, they say.
Yeah.
I brought up.
NPC or Covenant?
They didn't say Covenant. They said a group of NPC invaders,
So
which,
it's like an NPC
which
Brotherhood of
could
Blood or
mean,
something?
though, that you could join them, but it's going to be
If
a
they put
nemesis
in-
situation where they
Yeah, I was
just,
gonna say
Oh,
it's gonna
yeah.
be Nemesis.
they just keep invading your
Cool.
game.
Stars.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like something, if you have an item or something, they'll chase you down or something. I hope that they put in a non-cracked red eye orb, a reusable, because that made invading really kind of tough in that game. I don't know.
Man, how easy would it have been for them just to be like, yeah, it's Dark Souls 2 on PS4.
Yeah.
Like, here's one new thing, but
They're putting it all out there.
if all of this stuff is as cool as it sounds like it is, that's pretty awesome.
And in 3 days, we can see the Scholar, February 5th.
Yeah.
free.
I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So
I'm sure we'll all be there.
seriously, I want to find.
Let's all be there
I want to
together.
find this Scholar. I want to ask him who he is, and why he's there. What if it's a girl?
He or she, yeah.
Seriously.
Probably Vandrick.
I said that and he laughed. I was like, is it Vendrick?
I think it's a new character.
Yeah.
This guy laughs
This
a
guy
lot.
lasts a lot.
Laughs a lot.
That's a
He's
lot.
Puppet master.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I wonder if it has something to do with the worn out inscription about the giants across the sea.
Oh,
I
man.
hope they do
Nothing
something
ever
with
paid
that.
off.
Oh,
Yeah.
this game's so mysterious.
Yeah.
So,
Ah,
This could be a really long just play if we
Yeah.
wanted
once
it to be.
once we figure out who the Scholar is, we will come back and
Yeah.
talk
ruin it
about
for
Post.
you.
Thanks, Huber.